world is facing a major crisis. As geopolitical tensions continue to escalate, countries around the world are enhancing their defense systems and developing new technologies. Among these efforts, the United States has revitalized its war beast, the A-10 Warthog, equipping it with advanced capabilities that makes it an extremely powerful asset. What are the new upgrades on this aircraft? Why is the Warthog considered irreplaceable? Join us as we explore the mind-blowing features of the new A-10 Warthog that just shocked the world. 6 years ago, the U.S. Air Force almost got rid of all its A-10 Thunderbolt IIs. In 2014, the Air Force Chief of Staff, General Mark Welsh III, mentioned that to save money and resources, they needed to retire the A-10 and focus on the new F-35A units. He believed this would save $3.7 billion over 5 years and another $500 million on unnecessary upgrades. However, things have changed. By 2020, the A-10 is still in use and is even getting upgrades like new weapons, a redesigned cockpit, and updated tactics to keep it useful for the future. The A-10 was originally built to destroy Soviet tanks in Northern Europe and was centered around its powerful GAU-8/A Avenger 30mm cannon, which could easily damage armored vehicles. Over time, its 11 weapon carrying points advanced from holding simple bombs and rockets to carrying modern guided weapons. Even though the A-10 gained a strong reputation during Operation Desert Storm in 1991 and has adapted with new technology, the Air Force has often considered cutting it during budget reductions. The U.S. Air Force once argued that the F-35A Lightning II could take over the A-10's job, stating that the Warthog couldn't survive in modern battlefields with advanced air defenses. They also believed that since the long war in Afghanistan was over, close air support specialists were no longer necessary. However, supporters of the A-10 in Congress strongly opposed this idea, saying it would hurt the Air Force's ability to perform this mission. Some even called for a test to show if the F-35A could truly replace the A-10. In 2014, when discussions about retiring the A-10 were increasing, Operation Inherent Resolve, a U.S.-led mission to fight ISIS in Iraq and Syria, was quickly gaining momentum. The Air Force was pushed to play a bigger role in this growing campaign. At the same time, the 2015 budget plan from Congress included rules that prevented the Air Force from retiring the A-10. These events came together in a way that ended up saving the A-10 from being phased out. In October 2014, the Indiana Air National Guard's 163rd Fighter Squadron, known as the Black Snakes, was sent to the Central Command region as part of a security mission to Kuwait. However, they were quickly reassigned to Afghanistan to support the U.S. Army's withdrawal from forward operating bases. After just a month, there was pressure to send the Black Snakes back to Kuwait to join the growing fight against ISIS. The A-10s were then quickly sent into combat, proving once again how valuable they were to senior leaders. Over time, more Warthog squadrons were brought in to support the OIR mission, offering close air support and protection for combat search and rescue during coalition operations. The plan to retire the A-10 had caused a ripple effect, halting support and upgrades. Testing for active duty A-10s at Nellis Air Force Base and work at the A-10 program office in Utah had basically stopped. However, with Operation Inherent Resolve in full swing, by the summer of 2016, these decisions were reversed, and there was renewed focus on making important upgrades to the A-10 for its missions. The plan to retire the A-10 caused a temporary delay in some supply chains, but upgrades soon resumed. In 2017, the Lightweight Airborne Recovery System V-12 was added to all active-duty Air National Guard and Reserve Command A-10s. This system helps pilots communicate better with people on the ground, like downed pilots and rescue teams, says Air Force Major Matthew Kading, A-10 Test Director for the 59th TES. It was included in the Operational Flight Program Suite 8, and now all A-10s have this system built into their Central Interface Control Unit to provide important combat search and rescue information. With limited funding, the active duty test efforts from the 422nd and 59th Test and Evaluation Squadrons are now working together with the Air National Guard Air Force Reserve Command Test Center at Tucson Air National Guard Base in Arizona. The U.S. Air Force currently has 281 A-10s, but there have been many unsuccessful attempts to reduce this number. The proposed fiscal year 2021 budget plans to cut about 44 A-10s, which is roughly 3 squadrons. However, this reduction may also be stopped, and major upgrades to the A-10 are now progressing quickly. The A-10 is making such a strong comeback that a new Common Fleet initiative is planned to keep it in service and effective until around 2035. Key to these upgrades is making sure the A-10 can survive in more dangerous environments. This means Warthog pilots will need to avoid threats by using longer-range standoff weapons and updated tactics. A-10 missions will evolve to include striking some threats with precision weapons from a distance. Once those threats are eliminated, the A-10s can then return to their usual close air support missions. According to Major Kedding, survivability involves more than just upgrading equipment and software. It also requires using the latest and most effective tactics. He emphasized that what sets the 422nd and 59 TES and the 53rd Wing apart is their comprehensive approach to these aspects. He also explained that the 422 is currently working on several tactics development and evaluations to address Air Combat Command's tactics improvement proposals. One example is a tip focused on improving tactics for night operations at medium and low altitudes. This is needed because new night vision technology has raised questions about whether the A-10 can perform its main missions effectively at lower altitudes at night. Other planned TD and ES include updating combat search and rescue tactics and using AGR-20 Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System rockets for maritime targets. They are also working on improving the A-10's ability to operate from rough locations with little support. All these efforts aim to boost readiness and mission capability through better tactics. Also, Suite 9, which was fielded in 2 integrated situational awareness position into the operational 1019 flight program, allowing joint terminal attack controllers to digitally report their positions. He added that this update included validation features to avoid mistakenly targeting friendly positions with inertially aided munitions. Additionally, it introduced the capability to engage multiple targets with precision-guided munitions and enabled the dropping of 6 weapons with a single press of the pickle button. The aircraft can now target multiple enemies with just 1 button press in a single pass, which used to be much more complicated for pilots. A-10 pilots can use 500-pound GBU-38 or GBU-54 bombs or 2,000-pound GBU-31J dams, and the aircraft will let the pilot know if all these bombs can hit their targets in one run. Suite 9 also introduced a better helmet-mounted sight called HOBIT, or Hybrid Optical-Based Inertial Tracker. This new sight builds on the Thales Visionic Scorpion helmet that A-10 pilots have used since 2013. The upgraded helmet tracks the pilot's head movements more accurately using a new optical tracker with dots on the canopy. The upgrading process of the A-10As to A-10Cs, which started in 2005, was a major advancement for the Warthog, as it introduced precision weapons, a partially digital cockpit, and a laser designator pod. He added that Suite 10, set to be deployed in the spring of 2021, was a crucial step in modernizing the A-10. The Suite 10 will feature upgrades that allow pilots to target multiple enemies with 3 different types of weapons in one pass. It will fully integrate AGR-20 APKW's rockets, which means rockets can be aimed more precisely. The addition of GBU-31 V3J dams will offer new options for fuses and better feedback, helping pilots trust the weapon's accuracy. Additionally, A-10s will now be able to share threat information through a data link, improving situational awareness for the entire flight and enhancing their chances of survival. Also, the operational testing for Suite 11 will start once Suite 10 is in use. He added that the 40th Flight Test Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida is currently working on developmental testing for this phase. He also noted that Suite 11 will be the first A-10 operational flight program developed using agile methods, which will allow for faster updates and improvements. Most of the upgrades in this program will center on adding new hardware like a high-resolution display system, integrating the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, 3D audio, jam-resistant GPS, and RCC-210 radio improvements. It will also include new map software and better ways to use weapons. These changes will significantly modernize the A-10. They are currently developing the HRDS, a 11.6-inch 1920 by 1080 pixel color display that will replace the cockpit's old set of 6 analog instruments with a digital flight display. This upgrade will show high-definition targeting pod images and a new map system. He noted that this is the most significant cockpit modernization since the A-10A was upgraded to the A-10C. This upgrade is crucial because it offers modern navigation tools to help pilots better understand their surroundings in poor weather conditions. It will make targets clearer by providing a higher definition display of targeting pod images and better map details, which will help pilots identify targets more accurately. Also, the SDB testing is ongoing with the 40th Flight Test Squadron at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. This upgrade will greatly increase the A-10's ability to attack from a distance and allow it to operate in more dangerous environments. The standoff range of these weapons means A-10 pilots can strike targets from farther away, avoiding some ground threats. The USAF finished a project to replace the wings on some of its A-10C aircraft on July 25, 2019. This project started in 2007 when Boeing got a $1.1 billion contract to supply 173 sets of wings. The new wings are expected to last up to 10,000 flight hours without needing major inspections, allowing the aircraft to stay in service until 2030 or longer. Another project funded in fiscal year 2018 will provide 112 additional wing sets for the remaining A-10Cs under the A-10 Thunderbolt Advanced Wing Continuation Kit program. There are no current plans to re-engine the A-10s, but new parts suppliers might help restore the original engine power of the General Electric TF-34 engines, which are currently slightly less powerful. These upgrades will keep the A-10 a key part of the USAF's close air support mission for at least another decade, and probably much longer. Whether the A-10 will be replaced or not depends on future decisions, but with ongoing investments and little interest in a new light attack aircraft, the A-10 is expected to remain in service for the foreseeable future. Aside the expensive upgrades the Warthog recently received, what makes it deemed irreplaceable? The A-10 Warthog is considered to be an extremely tough war machine. In a recent Air Force statement, the Warthogs showcased their might in a live surface combat air patrol, practicing joint fires against surface threats to sharpen tactical skills. This is a move for the Warthog, which isn't usually seen in maritime operations, yet the tank-destroying, formidable fighter has earned a legendary status in the aviation world, repeatedly defying attempts to retire it from service. This aircraft has made a name for itself, having destroyed thousands of tanks, other armored vehicles, and artillery systems. Stating that the A-10 Thunderbolt has no equal is definitely not an exaggeration. It is the very first U.S. Air Force aircraft specifically designed for close air support of ground troops on the battlefield. The aircraft is built to survive. The fuselage can hold together even if two opposing spars or two adjacent skin panels are damaged. The pilot and critical systems are protected by 1.5-inch titanium armor, capable of withstanding hits from a 37mm shell. The armored cockpit, made from titanium plates, can survive a 23mm shell from the Soviet Shilka anti-aircraft gun. The tail fins are designed so that the A-10 Thunderbolt II can keep flying even if one of its vertical stabilizers or part of the horizontal stabilizer is lost. A key feature of the A-10 Thunderbolt II is its two General Electric TF-34 GE100 turbojet engines, each placed in its own pod on either side of the rear fuselage. This setup reduces the plane's radar and heat signature, lowers the chance of debris from the runway getting into the engines, and minimizes the amount of gunpowder gases entering the engines. Each engine generates 412 kilograms per force of thrust, allowing the fully loaded plane, weighing approximately 13,000 kilograms, to reach a speed of 834 kilometers per hour. The maximum takeoff weight of the aircraft is 21,140 kilograms. The A-10 was designed with its powerful GAU-8AA cannon as a focal point. The cannon is mounted slightly to the left, but its barrel aligns with the plane's center. The ammunition drum, almost 6 feet long, can hold up to 1,350 rounds of 30mm shells, though it usually carries about 1,174 rounds. Armor plates between the plane's outer skin and the drum are designed to explode incoming shells to protect the ammunition. The A-10 often carries the AGM-65 Maverick missile, which can be guided by TV or infrared systems and is useful for hitting targets from a greater distance than the cannon, reducing the risk from enemy anti-aircraft systems. During Desert Storm, when night vision equipment was lacking, the Maverick's infrared camera was used as a substitute for night vision. It can also carry cluster bombs and Hydra 70 rocket pods. It is equipped to use GPS and laser-guided bombs, including the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, paveway bombs, joint direct attack munitions, wind-corrected munitions dispenser, and AGM-154 joint standoff weapon glide bombs. Typically, an A-10 flies with an ALQ-131 electronic countermeasures pod on one wing and two AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles for self-defense on the other wing. In 1986, the A-10A received AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles for self-defense. A total of 7 15 A-10 Thunderbolt 22s were produced, with 707 still in production. The A-10 Thunderbolt II made a brilliant combat debut in Iraq in 1991. It was also used in Operation Deliberate Force in Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1995 and in strikes against the Bosnian Serbs. Despite operating under suppressed air defenses, it did not achieve much success. This aircraft is renowned for its extreme durability, its ability to withstand direct hits from armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds up to 23 millimeters. It has backup hydraulic flight systems and a manual control system if the hydraulics fail. Even without hydraulic power, the A-10 can still be flown using manual controls, although it requires more effort. It's designed to keep flying even if it loses an engine, half its tail, one elevator, or half a wing. Because the A-10 flies close to enemy positions, it is vulnerable to man-portable air defense systems, surface-to-air missiles, and enemy aircraft. To protect itself, it carries flares and chaff cartridges. In 2003, during Operation Iraqi Freedom, an A-10 took heavy damage, including to its hydraulic system. But pilot Captain Kim Campbell, who was in the cockpit, managed to safely fly it back to base using manual controls. The cockpit and flight control systems are protected by 1,200 pounds of titanium armor, nicknamed the bathtub. This armor can withstand hits from 23 millimeter cannon fire and some shrapnel from 57 millimeter shells. It consists of titanium plates ranging from 0.5 to 1.5 inches thick and makes up nearly 6% of the A-10's empty weight. The interior surfaces facing the pilot are covered with a nylon shield to protect against shell fragments. The cockpit glass can resist small arms fire. The A-10 was designed to operate from forward air bases and makeshift runways, where engine damage from foreign objects is a risk. Its engines are mounted in a way that reduces the chance of intake damage and allows the engines to keep running while the aircraft is serviced and rearmed, speeding up turnaround time. The engines are mounted closer to the ground, making servicing easier. The heavy engines are supported by 4 bolts connecting them to the airframe. Their high bypass ratio reduces the aircraft's infrared signature, and the exhaust is directed over the tail to help protect it from infrared-guided missiles. To protect the fuel system from damage, all 4 fuel tanks are placed near the center of the aircraft and are separated from the fuselage. This means that projectiles would have to go through the aircraft's outer layer before hitting a fuel tank. If the fuel transfer lines are damaged, they seal themselves. If the damage is too severe for the self-sealing to work, check valves stop the fuel from flowing into the damaged tank. Most of the fuel system parts are inside the tanks, so if they fail, it won't cause a fuel leak. The refueling system is cleaned after each use. The fuel tanks are lined with reticulated polyurethane foam on both sides, which helps contain debris and limit fuel spills if the tanks are damaged. The engines are protected by firewalls and fire extinguishing systems. If all 4 main tanks are lost, there are 2 additional self-sealing tanks that hold enough fuel for 230 miles of flight. The A-10 Warthog still plays a crucial role for the United States, so it's not ready to be retired. The upgrades it has received have made it well-suited for modern combat. The A-10 will continue to serve the Air Force until a suitable replacement is found. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link appearing on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.